There are many ways to record our games, our screens, and our content for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or insert platform here. We've got OBS, Meld, NVIDIA, Outplayed, Metal, TV, the list goes on. The one we're going to talk about today is Steam. Yes, our handy gaming library, which I've been using for screenshots for years, can also record your games in the background each time you load up. Now there's some caveats and some cool features, so let's check those out in this how to record your games using Steam. I am here in Steam, and let's go ahead and go over the auto recording feature. Now in Steam, we have, if we go to view, you can go to recordings and screenshots. This is where all of your media will be. So you can sort it by background recordings, screenshots, clips. You can look at all games most recent. You can look at it in many different ways. It's pretty robust. We're not going to start there. We're going to start with setting it up. That is just how you can get to your clips. If we go to Steam, we go to settings, we can scroll down here until we get to game recording. Now, game recording has many different options. So recording off is the default setting, or at least it was my default setting. Record in the background will start recording as soon as you start playing a game. You can tell this where to store, and we'll do that in just a second. Record manually, you can press a hotkey. You can change that hotkey if you would like. It starts off as Control F11. The shortcut keys are here. If you want to change a shortcut, click on it, click the X, change the key, and confirm. If you want to add a timeline marker while you're recording, just hit your shortcut key as well. Taking a screenshot is the same, it's F12. And save the last 30 seconds is a clipping feature. So you can go ahead and press a clip and get 30 seconds of your game as well. Now, the cool thing about Steam is has a game setting specifics. So if you would like a different game to only record a certain amount of time, you can change that here. You have infinite, you have don't record, and you also have the default 120 minutes, but you can change that to whatever you like. All of your other games will default into 120 minutes, high quality, and it shows you the file size that you'll be storing on your disk. We'll get to file size and actually what is stored on disk here in a minute, because it is not exactly what you think it is. So the high is default. It tells you the resolution, and it tells you the bit rate. It also tells you about how much you will store. So if you confirm, there's your bit rates. If you look here, you can see medium quality now went from 8.1 to 25.65 gigs. Depends on the game. Depends on how long you record it. Now, recordings folder. This is where you tell the Steam to put your files. And I'll say files because it's not exactly a video file, and we'll look at that in just a minute. If you want to use GPU hardware encoding, I would recommend that. Enable HEVC, I would recommend that well for file portability. Maximum video height, if you set no limit, it will record at whatever you play the game at. If you do set a limit, you can say 1440 for 2K, you can say 2160 for 4K, you can say 1080 for HD, and so on and so forth. If you want to record your microphone as you play, just tick the box here, and then you can tell what audio to pick up if you have music, if you have just game audio, or if you want to select individual programs, you can do that here as well. Once you have recorded some footage, it will show up in the game, as well as it will show up in the view section of Steam. Now, I have Path of Exile recorded from the other day, so we're going to click on that. And we'll go ahead and mute because it's crazy. Now, you can see the game footage here as we play through. And this is the last 120 minutes of the game. anything that's in blue here is gaming footage that has been recorded. And you can scroll through that. This file was actually a full file. It should be 120 minutes. There we go. So a little wonky when you open it sometimes. It looks like it's not the full file. That's one issue. Now, if you go through your footage, you can start it and stop it anywhere that you want to. And you can make a clip. So if we go to clip, it will give us the drag and fill. So you can go through here and make the clip as long as you would like. You have some tools here, so go through the tools. You can play from clip start. You can start the clip over at the current playback. So as the marker moves, you can play at the, you can end the clip at playback. So if you like where the clip is, you hit pause and then end your clip. And then zoom in and zoom out. I'd recommend zooming in because if you have a long file like this, you're not going to see very much when you're trying to clip. You won't be able to grab the end and the beginning bar to select your clip. So start. If you like where you're at, clip it. You can change the clip size. And then once you're done, you can do save and share. So you can save this in Steam. You can export this. It's very important. Copy to clipboard, send to phone, create a link, send it in a chat if you would like. Now, you can make this full screen. You can also skip to a new event, which would be a marker. So if I go here, it's going to move me to my marker. Now the marker key that we set up earlier, I set up M to make a marker, doesn't actually work in the playback tools. It only works while you're recording. So if you want to make a new mark, click there. You can go back and forth between your marked events, which is really good when you're editing videos. You want to be able to make a mark and do clips. That's a fantastic tool. If you want to go full screen, go full screen. There's a button there. And you can watch your clip from here, grab whatever you need. And if you hit escape, it will take you back. So pretty cool editing tool. Easy to grab some footage, export. And I would use this so if you're recording from OBS or Meld or something, and something happens while you're recording or it turns off, you can use this as a backup recording. It will record whatever audio you needed. So if you wanted to set up a bunch of different programs and record just like you're doing in OBS or Meld, then you can do that. And you would always have backup footage to be able to use. Now let's get to the caveat. I will open up a program called Tree Size, which allows me to see the file size on Windows, which you would think would be an easy thing to do. They actually created programs to do this, and Tree Size is one of my favorites. Here we are in Tree Size. Again, this is one of my favorite programs for looking at where are the large files on my computer. You're going to start here, and if you want to download this, I can put a link in the description. Tree Size is free, and it's great. You can pick whichever drive you would like to scan. When you scan the drive, it will load the folders, the parent folders, files underneath. It'll show you the path, and it will give you the size of the file, which is what we're looking for. You can sort by size, files, folders, things like that. It tells you how much of the parent folder is being taken up by this amount. So we go through here. I told the files to record to my raw YouTube recordings. So Steam Auto Record Files is what I named the folder. You can see we have 18.7 gigs. I only have 3 videos that I've recorded. The 2 hours of Steam was about the longest one, or the 2 hours of Path of Exile was the longest one that I recorded. The others were just test files. So we have 18.7 gigs on roughly 2 hours of footage. That's pretty stock for 2K res. The thing that I wanted to point out here, the whole reason I'm rambling about file size, is you do not have a file for the video itself. You have these little mini chunk streams. Now, what Steam is doing in the background is taking these little chunk streams and it's mixing them all together, and it's using some coding. So there's some JSON files in here. Those are all the video files. And we also have these things called timelines. The timelines, I believe, are the JSON files. Yes. So when I open these up in a coding program, you can see the JSON file. The JSON file is just saying, hey, this file at this time played this long, and it basically pulls all the clips into the play header. So you cannot really take the files that you created and use them from the background. Unlike Metal TV and other programs that I've seen where you could physically go to your hard drive and grab the video that was recorded, everything is done natively in Steam, and you can basically just clip a big portion of it or a small portion and export that as a video file. So that is the caveat I will warn, is you have footage all the time, anything you need in the background, and then you can just delete what you don't want after you're done. So it's kind of like a safety net. However, if you're looking for the file immediately to go run into, DaVinci or some other editing program and start doing work, that is not going to happen immediately. So you can take a clip, you can export that, and then go do whatever work you need on the clip. So natively, probably not my most preferred way to do it, but if you're just looking for clips and you don't want to auto record, I would say just use the clipping feature in Steam and grab those clips. You can immediately take that and export it, and then you'll have the right file size that you want versus just streaming all of your gameplay to a recording every single time you play. For me, this is just a good backup because I can use both. Okay, so there you have it. That is recording screenshots, auto record from Steam. It's a pretty handy feature if you need some backup footage. I will say it is not my favorite for actually getting raw files, moving them to an editor, and then producing my own content. So if you need to do that, you might want to use something like Metal TV or just natively record things in OBS each time. This just gives me a good place to run backup footage in case something happened during recording or it stopped. I can go back and grab any game files, audio, or whatever I need from these clips, make them into something exportable so I can put it into a video editor, and then use that footage in pretty good resolution. You can do 4K, 2K, HD, whatever you would like. So if you're looking for something from Steam while you're playing your games, this is a great option. If you play games in other like Xbox Game Studio or anything else, you definitely want to use NVIDIA, OBS, Meld, or some other program that will natively, even the Xbox Game Bar app will record games natively for you, and you can set those up. This is just for Steam, so keep that in mind. It is not a full Windows recording thing. That's it for this video. Hopefully that helps. I'll leave links to tree size and other helpful things in the video, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave those below. My name is Sir Dead Knight, and I'll see you in the next video.